majority of folks here, it seems. Let me start by introducing myself. So I am Nicole Savage, and I am here to present to you some information on our federal government in a series that's starting with This is America, Won't Have You Slipping Up. And that is also presented for the Alaska Civics Academy. My name is Nicole Savage, and I'm going to be here with you and taking you through all of this fun material. Now, with that being said, I'm so excited to also have Siobhan and Aaron with us as well. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves if you like. Everybody knows you.
I can go first. Hi, I'm Siobhan Shigog. I am the program director for the This is America Civics Academy. I am a born and raised Alaskan. I live in Portland right now. But again, I was born and raised in Alaska, left to go to school, came back, and the issues that impact Alaska still mean something to me. I'm still very concerned and very excited about our state's future and well-being and growth. And so it was important that I participate in this because Alaska is still my home. My aunt lives there, my grandparents live there, my parents are there. And just because I'm in Portland doesn't mean that I care about what happens to Alaskans any less. Having said that, I will scooch it on over to Aaron Jackson, our fearless leader.
Hi, my name is Erin Jackson Hill, and I am the director of Stand Up Alaska and proud president of Alaskans Take a Stand. I just want to say thank you so much. We're so excited to get this first inaugural Civics Academy kicked off, and so grateful that each and every one of you has decided to take this journey with us to make our community a better place. And so with that, I will kick it over to Emily, and then we'll go to Mita for the land acknowledgement.
Hi, everyone. My name is Emily. I use she, her pronouns on Dena'ina lands. I am so excited to see everyone here today. It's so thrilling to get this off the ground. I've been supporting Aaron and Siobhan in getting the Civics Academy kicked off. And yeah, I'm so thrilled to see you all here and for this to all be kicking off today. Welcome.
Awesome.
Short.
Oh, sorry, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Nicole. So welcome everybody. My name is Mita DeWitt, and I'm on the board for Stand Up Alaska, and I'm here to support Aaron, Siobhan, and Emily and Nicole in their work. Thank you for participating today. Hold on one second. I need to tell my kids to be quiet.
She has 8 kids, people. She has 8 kids.
They're trying to teach the puppy how to do tricks. So it's very exciting in the house. But like I said, welcome. Hashigenya, Hashigun, Dikyankao, Ganshtish. We give gratitude for this day and all for all the learning that we're going to receive and being able to move together in a good way as a community. Wherever we are on Indigenous lands. I'm going to share my screen real quick because we have a tool that we can use. If you are ever wondering whose traditional lands you are on, you can actually go to this tool and it will show you. So everywhere in the entire world is Indigenous land. And so if we zoom in here, we've got Alaska, and we go zoom, and we're on Dena'ina Eshnena. And so when I say I'm from Southeast Alaska, the Shinge-Ani, it's down here on the panhandle. But all of us here in Alaska have traditional lands. We have 22 different dialectical variants, 11 different cultures. And so it's important that when we're doing this work that we're acknowledging the First Peoples, so that way we do not perpetuate colonization ourselves. And we're able to live and work and play on Dena'ina Eshnena, and they're gracious in sharing their knowledge and space. And so we always want to give gratitude. So Ganshtish, Hasha Kakawu. Nicole?
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right. Well, now we are going to go ahead and get started. I'm just getting queued up here.
Can I introduce myself before I head out?
Oh, of course.
Hi, I'm Canyon. I am the social media director with Stand Up Alaska, and I also work with Alaskans Take a Stand. And I just wanted to say thank you for everyone showing up, and I'm excited to get to know y'all.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for coming in.
Canyon, are you on your way to the Dance for Democracy event?
I'm getting pretty right now for it. Not gonna
All
lie.
right, sounds good. I'll see you there later.
Nice.
All
That
right,
is
see you
awesome.
later.
All right.
Oh, it wasn't you.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm about to share my screen. I just want to make sure everyone will be able to see that. Right. All right. Can everyone see my screen? Great. All right. So I want to welcome everyone, as I just did, to the first This is America Civics Academy. We're going to thank you for attending. We're excited to share our knowledge and just learn from you. So this core principle of this academy centers around the notion of learning through dialogue, camaraderie, and a sprinkle of popular culture references. We're all in this together. So if you have any ideas or suggestions to contribute, feel free to share. As we delve into the material, there may be certain concepts that prove challenging to grasp, or you may feel overwhelmed at times, but please remember that this is no easy feat. The system was deliberately designed to be as complex, as intricate as possible. I mean, after all, it's easier to sorry, I lost myself right there. So after all, it's easier to win a game if your opponent doesn't understand the rules. In the words of Kobe Bryant, the basketball legend, greatness isn't innate. It's the result of years of hard work and commitment. So consider this your first week at a basketball or hobby camp of your choosing. And with that, we are going to begin. So the first thing we like to do is just make sure that we cover our basics, right? So we want to make sure that everyone can hear me and see me loud and clear. So with that, we're also going to make sure that you guys know where your reactions are. Okay, so with that being said, if we come over here, if you guys can hear me, please go ahead and give me a reaction. You can find those reactions at the bottom of your screen. You'll see a little happy face there with a plus sign. Oh, okay. I have some people raising their hands. That's good. All right. Got some hearts. Nice. I love it. I love it. Okay. Still waiting on a few. Is everyone okay? I do have a few. Is that a reaction or a question in that raised hand there? Jade or Sarah, are you playing along or did you have a question for me?
I
Or Sam?
just raised hand because it specifically says click reactions and raise hand for the
Oh,
yes.
perfect. All right. All right. So that's the one you chose. Awesome. Awesome. Good. Good. I just always want to double check. And just in turn like that, if you guys ever have any questions throughout as we're going on in the material, don't hesitate to reach out, either raising your hand or throwing in the chat or you know, saying something. Okay. All right. All right. And now you can go here and just make sure it looks like everyone is set to go. So we will go ahead and move on to our next slide here. All right. Okay, and everyone knows where the chat is. That is super important. And we make sure that everyone knows where the chat is comfortable with that. All right. Let's see, we got some chat going. Great, 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 great. Okay, all right. All right, so this is the time where I am going to share our facilitators guide, or well, participant guide that has in there all of our slides so you can follow along. So some of you were in here a bit earlier, you might already have it open, which is awesome. But I'm going to go ahead and share that in our chat for you. Okay, so what you want to do is go ahead and click that link. It's going to take you to a file. The best thing to do is go ahead and download that file. Okay, and once you download that file, then you should be able to open it right up. If you are unable to open it up right away, then you want to try opening it in Google Chrome. Yes, download to open. And if you have any questions or having any trouble, feel free to speak up or raise your hand and let me know.
I think Jade might have a question. She's got her hand up.
Oh, I didn't know if that was from before. Jade, how can I help?
My bad, totally forgot to lower my hand.
Ah, no worries.
You were right.
Not at all, not at all. So what I will say is if when you guys have opened your PDF and you have it available to you, you're able to scroll through it, please go ahead and put a check mark up in your reactions, and that'll let me know if we are ready to go. All right, see the board lighting up here. Awesome. Oh, keep them up. Can you guys keep them up? You can go ahead and keep them up until I let you to turn them off. That way I just know everybody is set. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, put it up and leave it there. All right, I see Emily, thank you. I see J Money. You can keep it up, guys. You don't have to turn it off. Just so I know that I'll tell you when to turn it off, okay? Oh, it auto expires. Interesting. That is something new. Shucks. Okay, no worries, no worries. We'll put it this way, actually. This might be better. So if you are having trouble opening the PDF, the link that I shared, then go ahead and let me know. And you can actually raise your hand if you're having issues. And the raising your hand should stay up. Okay, all right. So to me, that looks like we might be good to move on if everyone feels good with the notes there. So for some of you, if you've downloaded the file and you were able to open the PDF, there are boxes in there where you're able to click and type in that box. But as Erin has said, paper is also an option for you. However, you're best comfortable taking notes, but we just wanted to provide some options for you. Okay, all right. Now, are there any other questions about taking notes or anything like that before we move on?
I just wanted to say that taking notes is not required. I don't know if we covered that. We just put this there in case there was a concept or a conversation that struck you as important and you wanted to capture it quickly. So it's not like we're going to ask you to turn these in at the end of the day. These are yours for your own reference.
Hey, I have a question.
Absolutely.
So if Jamie leaves 2 tabs open, their computer might crash because of their quality of Chromebook. So is it okay if he leaves the Zoom and I leave my phone on so we can keep the PDF open and stay on call together?
Sure. I mean, whatever's easiest for you guys. Absolutely. We just
Awesome.
want to make sure that you have access, you can hear us, and you're able to participate. Okay. All right. Are there any other questions? All right. So moving on here.
That is totally my fault. I took the land acknowledgement out of order because I wanted to make sure Mita could fit it in. I didn't know what her schedule is. So
Sure.
my fault.
Absolutely. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Thank you. All
We
right.
can
so-
never acknowledge the original peoples too many times. So remember, we're on Denina F. Nena.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Mita.
All right. Okay. Giving my screen a second to catch up here. Okay, so before we get too far, we're going to go ahead and introduce ourselves because it's very, very important that we do that, and then also go over some basic housekeeping. So who I am, so we did that. I'm Nicole Savage, and actually I spent 6 years in learning and development, working for retail and automotive clients, and currently I'm the director of learning and development for Diversity of Thought, and we get to bring awesome programs like this to your neck of the woods, and I just love learning. I love training. I love helping people learn new things. So I'm just really excited to be here with you guys today. All right. And so, yeah, that's why I'm here. Awesome. Okay. And so now, let's see. All right. Do we want to have everybody introduce themselves? Erin, do you feel like we have time for that?
I think we should probably do it in the chat. We're running a little bit behind.
That's true.
And so, I think that we're
Agree.
going
To
to
get
do
through
this journey
everything.
together. So we're going to really get a really good chance to know folks. So if you can just put your name, your occupation or lack of occupation in the chat, and why you're here. That's the basic question is, why are you here? I can say I'm here because I love Alaska and I love our community and I'm not happy with the direction it's taking. So that's why I'm here. I guess we could share it with a couple of people. That would be good just to get people invited. Let's do like 3 people. Let's popcorn it to a couple of people. I'm going to popcorn it to Jade. Everybody else that doesn't get called on, please put it in the chat. We're interested. Jade, just give us your name, your occupation, and why you're here.
So my name is Jade. Currently I'm unemployed. But I do have an interview tomorrow. I'm here because I want to have the ability to learn more about what I can do in my hometown and state, and, you know, do what I can with my community.
That is awesome. Thank you, Jade, and thank you for being here and caring. That's what's important. Awesome. So, okay, well, we'll have our next person, our second person. Jay, do you want to pick someone? Can you see the participants list?
I think I'm gonna pick on Jamie.
All right. Jamie, can you share? You may be on mute.
One sec, he's opening up.
Okay, great. I see him coming in now.
Hi, I'm
Jamie?
Jamie.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Jamie. I'm currently unemployed, but hopefully getting employment soon. And I'm here because I want to learn how I can contribute to my community better and be a better citizen.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Jamie, for being here. All right. And let's see, who do we have next? Jamie, are you going to pick someone from the participant list?
Let's pop over to Sam.
All right.
Sure. My name is Sarah Seifert, but I go by Sam. Either is fine. I use he, she, they pronouns, and I'm from Fairbanks, and I am the administrative assistant for the University of Alaska Fairbanks Department of Music and the Department of Theater and Film. And I am here because I've done various activism and been a member of different activism groups most of my life, but I'd like to get more into that and learn more about it from a deeper standpoint of trying to actually enact more change in the government instead of trying to stop bad change, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
And especially due to recent ever expanding anti LGBTQ IA two-spirit sentiments in the US, but also especially very violent sentiments and attempts to outlaw basically the existence, frankly, of queer folk and especially trans folk.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And this is a great place to start, working within the community and learning more. This will be the basis of that foundational knowledge. So that is awesome. That is awesome. And thank you for your service thus far. As you said, you've done other activity groups, so that's great. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys for sharing. And I hope all of you, please go ahead. If you didn't get the chance to share, please go ahead and put that in the chat. Oh, awesome. This is great. Okay. Karen, Micah, that's awesome. Living in Anchorage. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you for sharing. Amelia, I see you. Great. All right. And now, okay, so now before we get too far. All right. So this is what we're going to be covering in this course today. Okay, so the basics on the U.S. government branches, the U.S. Constitution, and the checks and balances in our federal government. Okay, and so that is the objective for you guys to learn a little bit more about each. And here I know, let's go ahead and take attendance quickly and know that you guys have all brought a buddy, right? Which is very awesome. Okay, just an accountability partner, which is always important. Just remember that we are recording this session. Okay, so just to make sure you're aware of that. Were there any other specifics on this that you wanted to share, Erin?
No, ma'am, you're good.
Yeah,
Let's-
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. All right. And so then, and so as we go through this, if you guys have any questions about what we are covering, please feel free, like I said, to either raise your hand. You can also jump in the chat or, go ahead and reach out and I will answer your question, or we have our subject matter experts here who can assist, and we'll parking lot your question until we can get those answered. But I'll make sure that we get every single question answered to make sure you guys are going away with all the great information here. So let's go ahead and just take attendance really quick, and then we will get started. Now I have, I'm going to go by the first name, the first part of these emails. That's going to be the easiest way to go ahead and take a roll here. So once I say that first part of your email, if you can just say here, and we'll keep it moving. So I have Jolene Eek 16.
Here.
Great, thank you. I have G2 Joe. I have Johnson.Alexander.School. All right, I have Jamie.Cotton.
Here.
Thank you. I have Jager Jackson. Okay, I have Liz Dean.
Here.
Thank you. I have Amelia Grace.
Here.
Thank you. I have Safer Sarah.
Here.
Perfect. David Cross. I have Akira A.
Yep, here.
Awesome. I have a Michaela. That loud.
Here. Mika, yes.
Mika. Thank you. I have another Kira.
I think that was Miss. I
Okay.
think that was, yeah, my wife accidentally signed me up
All
after.
right.
Sorry.
No worries, no worries. I have a G Ronkin. And I have an Ashlyn. And I have a Jennifer.
You can just call me Jen.
Jen, okay. And I have a CET volleyball.
Here,
Thank you. I have
I'm under J Money, in case people are wondering. That's me.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah,
Thank
I'm
you.
on my friend's desktop, so.
Oh, not at all, not at all. And then I have a hid at SA Chick. And a Jaden Ash. All right.
That's me.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. And let's get going.
No, you forgot me.
Oh, Ellen, I'm so sorry. Let's see here.
It's board@kidsvotingnorthalaska.org.
Okay.
That
That was board at Kids Voting Alaska.
North Alaska.
I have her email.
Okay, perfect. All right.
Nicole, also Gabe, he joined this morning. He sent in the registration this morning.
Okay.
So you may not see it yet, but it's we'll send you the email, but it's on the forms registered. But Gabriel Fahrenberg, please add him to your list. Thank you.
I will do that right now. Thank you. Okay, thank you. All right, and let's get started. Okay, so to start our class, we're going to watch a clip from a TV show called Newsroom. It's from the very first episode in 2012, and there is some strong language. So, just please be aware of that. Even though it's an old clip, the statistics mentioned are still relevant today. After we watch it, we'll talk about what you thought. So watch the video. And with that, we will get started.
We'll go on to the next question.
Could everyone hear that? That short little part?
You, sir.
My name's Steven. I'm a
Great. All right. And here we go.
We'll go on to the next question. You, sir.
My name's Steven. I'm a junior, and my question's for Will McAvoy. Do you consider yourself a Democrat, a Republican, or an independent?
I consider myself a New York Jets fan, Stephen.
Since it's been brought up, you've almost religiously avoided stating or even implying a political allegiance. Is that because, as a news anchor, you feel the integrity of your broadcast would be compromised?
That sounds like a good answer. I'll take it.
There was a short piece on Vanity Fair's website by Marshall Westbrook. You probably saw it, where he calls you the Jay Leno of news anchors. You're popular because you don't bother anyone.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Jealous of the size of Jay's audience.
Are you willing to say here tonight whether you lean right or left?
I voted for candidates run by both major parties.
Let's move on to the next question. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Jenny. I'm a sophomore, and this is for all three of you. Can you say in one sentence or less what, you know what I mean? Can you say why America is the greatest country in the world?
Diversity and opportunity.
Lewis?
Freedom and freedom. So let's keep it that way.
Will?
The New York Jets.
No, I'm going to hold you to an answer on that. What makes America the greatest country in the world?
Well, Lewis and Sharon said it. Diversity and opportunity and freedom and freedom. You don't look satisfied.
I want a human moment from you. What about the people? Why is America
not the greatest country in the world, Professor? That's my answer.
You're saying
yes.
Let's talk about
fine. Sharon, the NEA is a loser. Yeah, it accounts for a penny out of her paycheck, but he gets to hit you with it anytime he wants. It doesn't cost money. It costs votes. It costs airtime and column inches. You know why people don't like liberals? Because they lose. If liberals are so fucking smart, how come they lose so goddamn always?
Hey.
And with a straight face, you're going to tell students that America is so star-spangled awesome that we're the only ones in the world who have freedom? Canada has freedom. Japan has freedom. The UK, France, Italy, Germany, Spain, Australia, Belgium has freedom. So 207 sovereign states in the world, like 180 of them have freedom.
All right.
And yeah, you, sorority girl, just in case you accidentally wander into a voting booth one day, there's some things you should know. And one of them is, there is absolutely no evidence to support the statement that we're the greatest country in the world. We're 7th in literacy, 27th in math, 22nd in science, 49th in life expectancy, 178th in infant mortality, 3rd in median household income, number 4 in labor force, and number 4 in exports. We lead the world in only 3 categories: number of incarcerated citizens per capita, number of adults who believe angels are real, and defense spending, where we spend more than the next 26 countries combined, 25 of whom are allies. Now, none of this is the fault of a 20-year-old college student, but you nonetheless are, without a doubt, a member of the worst generation ever. So when you ask what makes us the greatest country in the world, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Yosemite? Sure used to be. We stood up for what was right. We fought for moral reasons. We passed laws, struck down laws for moral reasons. We waged wars on poverty, not poor people. We sacrificed, we cared about our neighbors, we put our money where our mouths were, and we never beat our chest. We built great big things, made ungodly technological advances, explored the universe, cured diseases, and we cultivated the world's greatest artists and the world's greatest economy. We reached for the stars, acted like men. We aspired to intelligence. We didn't belittle it. It didn't make us feel inferior. We didn't identify ourselves by who we voted for in the last election, and we didn't scare so easy. We were able to be all these things and do all these things because we were informed by great men, men who were revered. First step in solving any problem is recognizing there is one. America is not the greatest country in the world anymore. Enough?
All right. So that might have been a little tough to hear. So before, I share, does anyone want to share some thoughts, maybe what surprised you, or, just your initial reaction, or, how maybe this relates to the objectives of our course? Because really the goal is, this isn't meant to make you feel upset, but more just to highlight that, there is a place to go from here. There is hope for positive change, but that starts with, you and you taking the time to get involved. And so, getting involved in your local community is how we can make real progress on the issues that matter to us. And so, hoping that this video kind of illustrates that, where we are, but what we can be. So with that, does anyone want to share some thoughts? No, too soon?
I would like to, if possible.
Sure, yeah.
One of the things when we put that particular clip in there, we know it's heavy and we know it is spicy, and it can make you feel pretty bleak. And quite frankly, if you are at all aware of what's happening in the news, it feels pretty bleak out there. But to Nicole's point, there is no place to go but up. And that movement starts with us, the people here, the people actively out in the streets trying to make things happen. And so what we don't want you to take away from that is a sense of hopelessness, but a sense of hope, because America can be the greatest place in the world. It absolutely 100% can be. And it starts with us making those changes. The other thing that I want to iterate is in this space right here, this is a safe space. You do not have to worry about any of the facilitators, any of the presenters taking this information and saying to other people, well, Mita said that she thinks America's terrible, or Jamie said that she thinks. That is not what we do here. This is a safe space for you to contribute, to feel included, to feel accepted, and your voice is to be heard, even if it is a different voice than the majority. This is the space where you are allowed to speak up and speak out. And so I hope as we go through these 18 weeks together, you recognize that this is a community where you are safe. No one here is going to turn on you or be nasty to you for your opinions, whether they agree with ours or disagree. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Siobhan, for sharing that. And, I definitely want to reiterate that point that in a classroom, to learn something new, you have to be open to learning something new. And that, means that you will sometimes be vulnerable. And the goal is to have a space where you feel comfortable doing that and being that. And that's what this space is. So, we are here to support you, answer questions, and just really, help you on your journey to making, the world around you a better place. So, yeah. So with that, feel free to share when you're ready and comfortable. Ellen, did you have something? Sorry, I just saw you come off mute. Okay. So does anybody else have anything that may want to share before we keep moving?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Ellen. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I started to say I'm president of Kids Voting North Alaska, and whereas we used to function to give students voting experiences, now we have kind of changed our focus to civics education. And as I think you're aware, there are several bills that are, well, there is a bill by Senator Stevens floating around, going through the Finance Committee that is asking for a half a year of dedicated civics education in the classroom. And what we realized was that giving kids an authentic voting experience is not really enough. That what we need to give kids is a way to educate themselves about vote, about issues, and about who is running. That just blind voting, party voting, voting because your parents tell you, voting because your friends tell you is not enough. And what we're basically focusing on is getting the voting percentage above 17% in the borough, and doing that by trying to train kids in critical thinking so that they identify issues that can energize their age group and get kids out to vote. And we're hoping that by talking about issues and talking about the importance of voting and the mechanics of voting and the ordinariness of voting, that kids will influence their parents, and then we can get more people to vote. So I'm hoping that with your organization, we can somehow collaborate and use your information in our classrooms. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Ellen. Thank you. I absolutely hope so. I hope that you can as well. You know, it sounds like all the goals are aligned here, and that's very exciting. Awesome. All right.
I want to take a second to say thank you, because there's a lot of chatter in the chat. So we might have missed that, but I'm in there responding. And thank you for those of you who may not feel comfortable speaking up out loud. If you want to continue to use the chat, please do.
Yes, absolutely. I do see all the great comments in there. Hearted some of those. Awesome. Awesome. So thank you all. Absolutely. All right.
There's a few hands up. There's a couple of people, I don't know if they were heard or not. I think Jamie had their hand up.
I see. I had J Money. Okay, yes, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you know, I work with all ages. My sister's 16, and I work with all ages, and then I'm 34. And I feel like being surrounded by all different generations, I kind of get this, people have this kind of stand of, well, it doesn't really apply to me, that happened back there. And it's the adults, you know, persona of taking care of America right now. That's not our job, but they don't realize that we are the next generation. You know, we're what's going to make the next steps. And so and like Ellen was saying, you know, educating people young is crucial, because I talk to people my age and I'm like, so what do you think about the politics, or what do you think about the legislation happening in Alaska? And nobody can tell me who's running. You know, nobody can tell me who's who even was in the race for presidency, you know, and it's really sad, because in their eyes, they're not part of anything bigger than themselves, you know. And I see that so frequently, and it just breaks my heart that they either don't have the tools or resources to be educated, or they just don't want to be. And so I was just food for thought, you know, just in the sense of just watching so many generations just kind of fall on the wayside of not my issue, not my problem, but they don't, and then it sneaks up on them as an adult, or if they have to rely on the government for Medicaid or whatever. I know one person whose parents worked for the state their entire life, and then they no longer qualified for that insurance. Well, then it was in their face what Medicaid does, and the struggles and the barriers that they experienced in Medicaid. And it really opened their eyes to have compassion for those people. But up until that point, they thought everybody had good insurance and could just walk into the doctor's office and what have you. Like, it was just a big wake up call, and hearing their story.
Thank you very much for that. I just wanted to jump in real quick, and it's interesting because of that video clip. It makes me think of communication with large groups of people, and as a undeclared progressive leaning person, I identified with that clip and agreed with that clip, but I also heard a major theme that we just heard recently, the Make America Great Again, which is a past tense. And I think that there was a lot of people kind of duped into the going backwards because of that nostalgia of being the greatest country again. But as we know, we can't go backwards because there was a lot of inequality and other issues that weren't brought to the forefront. So we have to go forward in this process to really make us, outstanding as a country, to make us a leader in the world once again. And so I think this is a great place for the Civics Academy and everybody joining in, because
go on to the next question.
forward
You,
is
sir.
going to be the difference for us and making it an actual equitable justice and racially equitable place.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It really does start here with the education. So I appreciate that. And with that being said, let's go ahead and move forward. I want to make sure we get through the presentation for everyone and get all of the information shared. Let's see. All right.
I think we're the youngest people here.
All right.
Probably.
My name's
Which is sad.
Now we're going to start with checks and balances. And let's see, let's make sure everyone is muted. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, so there are 3 branches of US government. First, I'll mention the executive branch. Who's heard of executive orders? Anyone familiar with the President of the United States? They all fall under this branch. And so second, we'll mention the judicial branch. You may be surprised to know that this branch has the final decision on all matters of law. These are the highest courts in our country. And finally, we'll mention the legislative branch. So if you've ever heard of the House of Representatives and the Senate, those are collectively known as Congress and are the legislative branch. They make laws we follow every day. All right, let's start with the most familiar. Executive branch, more than a president. All right, so President Joseph Joe, as some people call him, Biden, in the United States, the president is the head of government and the commander-in-chief of the military. The president has a number of powers, including the ability to sign legislation into law, grant pardons, appoint federal judges, and appoint cabinet members, and deliver an annual State of the Union address. The president is responsible for executing and enforcing the laws of the nation. However, there are limits to the president's power. The Constitution grants the executive branch certain powers, such as the power to nominate Supreme Court justices and to veto legislation. The president can also issue executive orders, which have the force of law. However, the president cannot declare war or raise taxes without the approval of Congress. The president also cannot pass a law or grant pardons. The vice president is the second in command of the executive branch and is usually chosen by the president as a running mate during the election process. Additionally, the vice president is elected alongside the president on the same ticket and must win the majority of the electoral votes in order to be elected. The vice president is responsible for presiding over the Senate and voting in the event of a tie. And finally, there are 25 cabinet positions. And while that could be shown here, I think it'll be more impactful if we took out our phones and scan the QR code on the screen. The cabinet is composed of the heads of the executive departments and is responsible for providing advice to the president. The cabinet members are appointed by the president and confirmed by the Senate. They are responsible for carrying out the president's agenda and making sure the laws of the United States are properly executed. Are there any questions on that? And were you guys able to open up the QR code and see the cabinet members? Oh, looks like we have some questions in the chat. Great. Okay. Okay, so if we saw there, the president can grant federal pardons, but not state ones. All right, great. Thank you for sharing those questions, guys. All right, former candidate for the presidency and former mayor, Pete Buttigieg, holds a cabinet position as Secretary of Transportation. Who remembers over the holidays the Southwest shutdown debacle? Folks slept at airports, missed holidays with their family. Well, check out this message directly from his office.
Hey, it's Pete. I'm here at the office where we have been getting thousands of complaints from passengers who have been stranded or had their plans disrupted because of the operational meltdown at Southwest Airlines. If you're one of those passengers, there's something I want you to know, which is that the U.S. Department of Transportation has your back. I'm disappointed that Southwest has not done more to proactively communicate with passengers the ways that they're going to take care of you. So I want to make sure you know some of the ways that you are owed compensation if you have been in this situation since Christmas Eve. That includes not only getting a refund if you choose not to travel and your flight was canceled, but also getting compensated if you had to book on another airline, getting compensated for hotel expenses, ground transportation, meals while you have been stuck as a result of a situation that was under Southwest Airlines control. If you haven't already, please familiarize yourself with our website, including our consumer protection page, where you can file a complaint if the airline is failing to provide the compensation that you are owed. I'm assigning US DOT resources to follow through on every complaint that comes in to make sure that you get compensated, and we will penalize Southwest as we would any airline to the tune potentially of tens of thousands of dollars per violation if they fail to meet what is required of them to take care of passengers. I know that there's nothing that can fully make up for missing a Christmas holiday, a birthday, a wedding, so many of the things that passengers have been counting on and looking forward to doing in these recent days. But when there is financial compensation that we can require from the airline to at least make you whole on the things that can be counted in dollars and cents, we're going to do exactly that. And we're not going to rest until every one of these complaints is addressed. Again, check out our website for more information. Our department is here for you in this situation and every day.
Awesome. Awesome. And thank you, Siobhan, and thank you for those comments and things in the chat. And I thought it was great to include this because, you know, I think that there is some confusion on what our cabinet members do. That's awesome. All right. Okay, so let's discuss the importance of Constitution. So the Constitution is the cornerstone of the executive branch, providing a framework for the president and their cabinet to conduct the business of the nation. It not only gives the executive branch the power to act, but it also sets limits on the power of the president and their cabinet to ensure that no one branch of government has too much power. With the Constitution guiding the executive branch, the nation can be sure that the government is running smoothly and fairly. All right. Executive orders and the power and limitations. An executive order is a directive from the President of the United States that has the force of law. The president can use executive orders to conduct the business of the United States government and to direct federal agencies and officials to carry out certain duties. Executive orders have the same legal weight as laws passed by Congress, but they're not subject to congressional oversight. The power of an executive order is limited to the scope of the president's constitutionally defined powers. The president cannot use an executive order to make laws that would violate the Constitution, and the order can be challenged in court. Executive orders can also be overturned by Congress or the Supreme Court. While the hope is that these powers are used for the betterment of all of us, there have been some executive orders that history does not look favorably upon. Here is a verbatim from this article. After Senate Republicans blocked passage of the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act last year, even though law enforcement groups supported a deal, President Biden signed a historic executive order to advance effective, accountable policing and strengthen public safety. The order requires federal law enforcement agencies to ban chokeholds, restrict no-knock warrants, mandate the use of body-worn cameras, implement stronger use of force policies, including with the duty to intervene and duty to render medical aid, provide de-escalation training, submit officer misconduct records into a new national database, and restrict the transfer of military equipment to local law enforcement agencies, well, among other things. While the president cannot mandate changes at the state and local level, the order incentivizes state and local reforms through grant making, new accreditation standards, and training and technical assistance. All right. It looks like we do have a little bit of a break time here. Now, with the time where it is, would everyone be okay with to keep going? We can show that with oh, I see some thumbs up there, some reactions there. Awesome.
Can I also, may I say something?
Sure.
Thank you. As we were building this out, we were talking about what is the theme that we want to discuss throughout all of the units, all of the classes. And if you're looking in the chat, I'm talking about police reform. When we originally put the slide together, the example that we wanted to give for an executive decision was the internment camps that Japanese Americans were forced into during World War II. And then we thought, wait a minute, this is a perfect spot to have some conversation about the George Floyd Act and police reform. So if you were listening and it sounded a little bit like the phrasing sounded off, that was me not revamping the language to move into the fact that we were going to discuss the George Floyd Act. So I just wanted to clear that up, and that will be a running theme throughout the 18 weeks that we're together.
Awesome. Thank you, Siobhan. Okay. Okay, so before we continue, let's see what we have here. We have, let's do some questions. We do have some questions on what we just learned here. So let's check with that a little fun activity, and we'll call it, Are You Slipping Up? All right, so I hope you guys were listening, took some notes there. You guys had great responses in the chat. So let's see what you learned, okay? The questions are multiple choice and feedback is immediate. So you'll know immediately whether you were right or wrong. All right. There it is. All right, so test your memory there. She's just lagging a little bit. Okay, so which one of the following, oh goodness. All right. I'm sorry about that, guys. Which one of the following is not a branch of the United States government? Is that executive, transportation, or judicial? You guys can throw it in the chat. What you think the answer is? Which one does not belong? All right, and here's the answer. All right. Oh goodness, it skipped right over. Well, the answer was transportation. So if you threw that in the chat, you were absolutely correct. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Great job, guys. I saw a lot of transportations in there. All right, the next one is the President of the United States receives powers and limits from the Supreme Court, the people, or the Constitution. Okay, I see the first answer popped up. Anyone else? Nice, that was really fast, Jolene. All right, nice work, guys. Okay, well, let's see. The people would be quite interesting, that's for sure. And let's see what that right answer is. It's gonna change, I promise, any minute. All right. Well, the Constitution was the correct answer. So great job. All right. And then finally, an executive order can break law or the Constitution, be overseen by Congress, or be challenged or overturned. All right. So for this next question, an executive order can break law or the Constitution, be overseen by Congress, be challenged or overturned. Nice work. Nice work, folks. That is the correct answer, challenge or overturn. Bonus points if you can name the two entities that can challenge and overturn an executive order. Nice. Nice work, guys. Congress or the Supreme Court. Great job. Great job. You guys were listening. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. All right. Great work there. And now we are going to get into this next chapter. Speaking of the judicial branch, they are essential for those checks and balances to keep us all aligned. So let's see how. The federal judiciary is an important part of our nation's system of checks and balances, as it is the court of last resort for interpreting the Constitution and making final decisions on matters of law. Its decisions are binding and can only be overturned by the Supreme Court. The federal judiciary is also responsible for ensuring the rights and freedoms of all citizens are protected. Okay, the Court of Appeals are the intermediate appellate courts. They are responsible, and I'll say that again because that was a whole mouthful. The Court of Appeals are the intermediate appellate courts. They are responsible for reviewing decisions made by district courts and deciding whether those decisions are in accordance with the law. We have the district courts, which are the trial courts of the federal system and are the first court of record. They are responsible for hearing cases, issuing decisions, and entering judgments. Then we have the Supreme Court, which is the highest court in the United States and is the only court specifically established by the Constitution. It is the court of last resort and is responsible for interpreting the Constitution and making decisions on the most important cases. The specialized courts are those that have been established to handle specific types of cases, such as bankruptcy, tax, and military justice. There are many more that fit on this slide, so feel free to scan that QR code that you see there for your records. And while you scan, I'll share that we can be here for weeks talking about the important work of each court. But for today, we're going to maintain a high-level understanding of each. And as always, just in case anyone asks, a court of record is a court that keeps a permanent record of its proceedings, including all the testimony, evidence, and orders issued. This record serves as an official and legal account of the case and is used for future reference and appeals. District courts in the federal system and most state courts are considered courts of record. All right. And that will move forward. Okay, so a little more about the district court. So the district court is the trial courts of the federal system. The federal district courts are the trial courts of the federal court system. They hear civil and criminal cases involving federal laws. The district courts are the only courts that can hear a jury trial in a federal case. Each state has at least one district court, and some states have multiple. There are a total of 94 federal district courts in the United States. Each state has a court of appeals that reviews decisions from the district courts. The Supreme Court is the highest court in the country and is the final court of appeals. The Supreme Court can decide to review cases from any district court in the United States. The district court also interacts with state courts. If a case involves both federal and state laws, it can be heard in both district and state court. In some cases, the district court judge will decide the federal law and the state court judge will decide the state law. Catch that. Okay, district for federal and state court for state law. Awesome. In other cases, the cases will be heard in both district court and state court at the same time. The district court judge will decide the outcome of the case. The district courts are important parts of the federal court system. They are the court that hears the cases first and can decide if a case should be sent to a higher court. The district courts also interact with state courts to ensure that a fair and just outcome is reached in cases involving both federal and state laws. All right, and now we're going to dive a little deeper into the Court of Appeals. The Court of Appeals reviews decisions made by lower courts and is located between the district courts and the Supreme Court. Its role is to ensure that the law is applied fairly and consistently in all states. There are 13 federal judicial circuits in the Court of Appeals, with each circuit covering a group of states. If it finds that the district court made an error in its application of the law, it can reverse the decision and either send the case back to the lower court for further proceedings or enter a new decision itself. Judges for the Court of Appeals are appointed by the President and confirmed by the Senate. The Court of Appeals mainly reviews legal issues and not the facts of the case. The Court of Appeals is an important part of the judicial system. and its decisions shape the law in the United States. And lastly, the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court of the United States has the final say in interpreting the Constitution and laws of the United States, including the federal government's power to tax, regulate interstate commerce, and enforce civil rights. The Supreme Court's powers are limited by the Constitution, which sets out the rules for how the federal government operates. Specifically, the Supreme Court cannot make new laws. It can only interpret existing laws. Additionally, the Supreme Court cannot overturn a state law if it does not conflict with a federal law or the Constitution. The Supreme Court also has the power to review the decisions made by lower courts and can reverse the decisions if they are deemed to be unconstitutional or in conflict with the federal law. Finally, the Supreme Court has the power, the Supreme Court has the power to issue advisory opinions to the President, the Congress, and other government bodies. All right. Any questions on our court systems before we move forward? All a little. That's but great bites of information here. All right.
Put this in the chat, but if you are listening to this and feeling confused, do not feel alone. This is a lot of information. And quite frankly, I am still Googling stuff, understand what I Googled right before I Googled the stuff I was trying to understand what I Googled.
Absolutely.
So you're not alone.
Absolutely. Definitely a lot of information, but it's laying the foundation. Okay. All right. Is everyone good to keep going? A little bit of time left here. All right. We're going to do just that. Thank you. Okay. So now we are going to jump into our next knowledge check. All right. So let's see. Are you slipping up? Quiz 2. Let's see what you guys learned in our last little bit there. Oh, in the judicial branch, which court is highest? Supreme Court, Court of Appeals, or the district courts? Nice, everybody, nice. Just like the nachos. That's great. Okay, and that is correct. It is the Supreme Court. And for our next question, what types of cases go to trial in district courts? Is it civil, criminal, or both civil and criminal? All right. And that is correct. It is both civil and criminal. Great work, guys. All right. And last one, the Court of Appeals mainly reviews legal issues, every federal case decision, or facts about a case. Remember, this is the Court of Appeals. All right, the Court of Appeals reviews legal issues. So they're not focused on the facts of the case, more so whether the decision was legal. All right, great job, guys. And with that, we'll move on to our last little part here, which is the legislative branch. The only people who love bills. I love that. All right. The legislative branch is made up of Congress, which consists of two houses, the Senate and the House of Representatives. The purpose of the legislative branch is to make laws that serve the best interests of the citizens of the United States. The primary responsibilities of members of the legislative branch include introducing and debating bills, voting on legislation, and conducting oversight of the executive branch. They also have the power to declare war, ratify treaties, and impeach public officials. Additionally, the Senate is responsible for confirming presidential appointments to federal courts and executive branch positions. Through their debates and votes, legislators shape the policies and laws of the United States. Okay, so here is where we have divided up some quick facts on Congress. So on the left-hand side of your screen, you're going to see facts for the House of Representatives. And on the right-hand side, you are going to see facts on the Senate and see kind of how they differ. So its members, House of Representatives has 435 members and the Senate has 100. How long can they be in office? What is their term length? For House of Representatives, it's 2 years, and for the Senate, 6 years. How about age? How old do you have to be in the House of Representatives? All right, 25 for the House and 30 for the Senate.
Can I say something real quick?
Sure.
There is a person in the House of Representatives that is the youngest serving representative. I think he's like 26. And he is a firecracker. I'm trying to think of his name. I can't think of it, but he is so incredibly inspirational. He's a young Black man. And one of the reasons that he's so provocative is because they were, for lack of a better term, his peers were teasing him when he got on the floor because he was, he's broke. He doesn't have any money. And he's like, I don't have money because I ran for this on a platform of not accepting corporate donations. And I have not taken a salary yet. So while you all can sit here and, you know, tease me for having a terrible credit score, because I think his credit score, Maxwell Frost, thank you. His credit score is like -8, but it's because he maxed out his credit cards to run for office. And I'm bringing that up because I want you to understand that I think someone on here earlier said, I think we're the youngest people in here. Yes, you are, but you are also the future, and it can be done. It can absolutely 100% be done. And you don't need corporate sponsors to do that. The other representative that hasn't taken any corporate sponsorship is Katie. What's her name? She's in California. She's the representative from California, and she's the one that is always holding banks accountable for their actions. The only person that outraised her was Kevin McCarthy, and she gets all of her donations from people just chipping in like $5, $10, $20 here and there when you can. So as you're looking at this in that 25 years, 30 years, you're like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. Katie Porter, thank you. I could absolutely 100% be somebody in this space right now. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Wow. So the Congress can look very different, you know, even AOC, I know she's really popular and, you know, on the younger side who started out just making change. Yeah. Yeah. And it starts right here, just learning what's possible. So awesome. Okay, so next we have structure. Okay, so you'll see that here in the House of Representatives, they have lots of rules. It's very formal proceedings when they conduct their meetings. But for the Senate, it's a little more, you know, loose. So they're just less formal, less rules. Okay. So here, so for the House of Representatives, just to sum it up, oh, goodness, sorry about that, guys. All right. So to sum it up, the House of Representatives has 435 members. Their members are elected every 2 years, as you see there. The number of representatives for each state is based on population. So each state gets a different amount of representatives, which builds right back up to that 435 member number. They're focused on laws related to taxes and spending. They initiate bills related to taxes and spending. They have a Speaker of the House who is elected by their members. And as you see, they only have to be 25 years old. For the Senate, they have 100 members, which is 2 members per state. Members are elected every 6 years. So each state has 2, regardless of the population. They're focused on foreign policy, approving judges, and other important government officials and confirming treaties. They can approve or reject bills passed by the House. So again, they can approve or reject bills passed by the House. They have the Vice President who serves as the President of the Senate. So instead of the House of Representatives having the Speaker of the House, the Senate has the Vice President who is the President of the Senate. Senators must at least be 30 years old. And really the only main difference between the House and the Senate is their size, terms of office, and areas of focus. The House is larger and more focused on taxes and spending, while the Senate is smaller and more focused on foreign policy and confirming government officials. This is a TikTok of Senator Elizabeth Warren questioning executives from top banks, including Chase, Wells Fargo, and PNC, about how they handle fraudulent Zelle transactions. It's Congress's job to rein in big business when they hurt American consumers. And before I play this slide, we do have a few minutes left here technically in our session. I do only have a few more slides, so if everyone's okay to continue to hold on, you know, I think we'll only be a few minutes over here. But is that okay with everyone? Awesome. Thank you, Sam, for that. All right, let's keep going. Okay.
Last year alone, Zelle users were defrauded out of about $500 million that we know of. You profit from every transaction on the system and you tell people that it is safe. But when someone is defrauded, you claim that's the customer's problem. We could fix that problem right now in this committee. If you would all be willing to say, or any of you would be willing to say, if a customer is defrauded on Zelle and they come and complain to the bank, then the bank will make it good. Let's do this one by a show of hands. Who is willing to make that commitment to your customers?
Awesome. Awesome. So this is an example of Senator Elizabeth Warren, and that's Warren, and she was questioning executives from top banks and how they handle those fraudulent charges. Because as it is Congress's job to rein in big business when they make mistakes and hurt American consumers and aren't owning up to it or making it right. So that was an example of that. All right, see these comments in here. Thank you, guys. Okay. Introducing and passing legislation in Congress is an important and complex process. Fortunately, there are a few easy to understand steps that can help you understand how it works. First, the bill is introduced. This can be done by a member of Congress or a delegate or by a sitting president. Once the bill is introduced, it's referred to a committee. This committee will evaluate the bill and decide if it should be passed to the floor of the House or Senate for a vote. Second, the bill is debated. This is when Congress discusses the bill and makes amendments. If the bill passes through the House or Senate, It is then sent to the other chamber for consideration. Third, the bill is voted on. If the bill passes a vote in both chambers, it is sent to the president for approval. The president can sign the bill, veto it, or send it back to Congress with suggested changes. Finally, the bill becomes a law. If the president signs the bill, it will become law and will be in effect. All right. And this is something from my childhood, but that really well explains how a bill can become a law.
As your body grows big, your mind must flower. It's great to learn, 'cause knowledge is power. It's Schoolhouse Rocking, the chip on the block of your favorite schoolhouse, Schoolhouse Rock.
Woo, you sure gotta climb a lot of steps to get to this Capitol building here in Washington. Well, I wonder who that sad little scrap of paper is.
I'm just a bill, yes, I'm only a bill, and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. Well, it's a long, long journey to the capital city. It's a long, long wait while I'm sitting in committee, but I know I'll be a law someday. At least I hope and pray that I will, but today I am still just a bill.
Gee, Bill, you certainly have a lot of patience and courage.
Well, I got this far. When I started, I wasn't even a bill. I was just an idea. Some folks back home decided they wanted a law passed, so they called their local congressman, and he said, "You're right, there ought to be a law." Then he sat down and wrote me out and introduced me to Congress, and I became a bill. And I'll remain a bill until they decide to make me a law.
I'm just a bill, yes, I'm only a bill, and I got as far as Capitol Hill. Well, now I'm stuck in committee, and I'll sit here and wait while a few key congressmen discuss and debate whether they should let me be a law. I hope and pray that they will, but today I am still just a bill.
Listen to those congressmen arguing. Is all that discussion and debate about you?
Yeah, I'm one of the lucky ones. Most bills never even get this far. I hope they decide to report on me favorably, otherwise I may die.
Die?
Yeah, die in committee. Oh, but it looks like I'm going to live. Now I go to the House of Representatives and they vote on me.
If they vote yes, what happens?
Then I go to the Senate and the whole thing starts all over again.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
I'm just a bill, yes, I'm only a bill, and if they vote for me on Capitol Hill, well, then I'm off to the White House where I'll wait in a line with a lot of other bills for the president to sign. And if he signs me, then I'll be a law. I hope and pray that he will, but today I am still just a bill.
You mean even if the whole Congress says you should be a law, the president can still say no?
Yes, that's called a veto. If the president vetoes me, I have to go back to Congress and they vote on me again, and by that time you're so
By that time, it's very unlikely that you become a law. It's not easy to become a law, is it?
No, but how I hope and pray that I will, but today I am still just a bill.
He signed your bill, now you're a law.
Oh, yes.
Schoolhouse Rock. Yes, I loved Schoolhouse Rock as a kid. It just brought me all the way back. Any of you remember Schoolhouse Rock? Yes, I love it. I love it. I saw that, some dancing in there.
Thankfully, I was able to see it before they took it out of schools for the most part.
Yeah,
That's a really good point, because remember at the very beginning, we said, if you don't know some of this stuff, do not feel bad. The system is set up to make it so that you don't know it, because it's a lot easier to control the population if the population doesn't understand how to change it. This is exactly what we're talking about. This was actually removed from curriculum. This was removed from curriculum. So if some of you are sitting here and you're like, oh man, the judicial system, what? Yes, exactly what. And this whole academy is designed to help change that. I'm gonna get off my soapbox.
Awesome. No, I love it. I love it. It's very near and dear to me. I live in Florida, and our governor is making a lot of changes with our curriculum, for our kids. So how else are they going to get that knowledge? So that's what that same kind of work. We're working to educate. It starts right there. Awesome. All right, so branches of government in practice. So this is where we pull it all together. Okay, so how do they all work together? Just how does it work? Let's see. What are checks and balances? I know I mentioned that in the beginning of our presentation. Checks and balances are an important part of the United States government. The executive and legislative branches of government are uniquely positioned to serve as a counterbalance to each other by sharing and limiting powers. The system of checks and balances allows the government to operate in a transparent and accountable manner, while also preventing any one branch from becoming too powerful. It helps to ensure that no single branch can make decisions without the agreement of the other two branches. Checks and balances also encourage collaboration between the executive and legislative branches, allowing them to work together to create laws and policies that are in the best interest of the nation. For example, the president makes laws and allocates funds and also appoints justices, while Congress can veto legislation from the president and confirm those judicial appointments. And the only thing missing here is the SCOTUS, or Supreme Court of the United States, which rules on executive action and rules on legislation. So in short, the executive and legislative branches balance each other by sharing and limiting power. This prevents any branch from becoming too powerful and makes the government transparent and accountable. Decisions cannot be made by one branch without agreement from the others. Collaboration between branches is encouraged by these checks and balances. And this allows the creation of good laws and policies for the country. All right. Lobbyists are people who work for organizations and companies to represent their interests in the legislative process. Lobbyists may meet with legislators, write letters and briefs, and organize events to spread awareness about the issues their organizations care about. Interest groups or organizations of people who share the same goals or beliefs. These groups may work to influence legislation by organizing protests, writing letters to their representatives, or donating money to candidates. The media can also play a key role in the legislative process by informing the public about the issues being discussed in Congress. They may also report on how individual members of Congress vote, which can help hold them accountable to their constituents.
So what is lobbying? Well, simply, lobbying is the act of influencing decisions made by legislators and regulatory agencies. You know, the guys who make the rules. And the people who exert this influence are called lobbyists. Well-connected professionals with slick suits and slicker tongues. Lobbyists tend to be experts in the fields they lobby for. They advise lawmakers on how to make sure Americans are getting the most benefit from the laws they pass, while also reducing potential harm. It's a good idea. Why wouldn't you want an expert's advice? Here's where things get screwy. Sometimes the lawmakers decide the cash is greener on the other side, so they become lobbyists themselves. They leave government and join a private company, taking their connections and influence with them. This phenomenon is called the revolving door. People going from regulating an industry to working in that same industry, and sometimes back and forth multiple times. Corporations love having such powerful people on their payroll, so they do everything they can to lure them over. And for their part, the regulators help out by making a few choice laws to benefit their future employers. And with the spin of the door comes a host of new laws that benefit some companies, hinder others, but business keeps rolling, and in the end, no one really gets hurt. Except, of course, the people.
A little different than you probably thought. It's up to you to stay informed on who's lobbying our elected officials and for what reasons.
I can see your car as the background, or there's a car as the background.
Yes, that was the next slide there.
Ah, okay, I'm sorry. I was
Yeah,
like,
not at all. Okay, so this next video we're going to jump right in is and see if you can spot the differences.
How many of you actually know what a lobbyist does all day? Well, join me for a day in the life. First, I checked my schedule for the day. Now it's time to get changed to look presentable. Now this suit got a little COVID tight for me, but my back.
Oh, looks like it was. Was that video moving for you guys? No, it wasn't moving for me either. Yeah, we'll try that one more time.
so I can give a brief description of that
That'd be
video
great.
to save time. So what that video was, what we wanted to do as we built this out, was to ensure that we didn't want to make it so like lobbyists are bad and only these people are good. So we tried to give a balanced view so you could see the dark side of lobbyists and also the good side. And the TikTok that we were showing is he is a lobbyist that basically fights on behalf of poor and marginalized folks. He is constantly introducing bills that protect like renters' rights and things that would make it so that LGBTQ plus kids could get the gender affirming care that they need. Food insecure places, like he is always advocating for those on behalf of citizens, and he is in fact a lobbyist. And so we didn't want it to be like all lobbyists are bad, they're terrible all the time. We also wanted to show the good side of lobbying, because a lot of times, because of his efforts, kids have been able to eat, they've been able to get books, they've been able to get gender affirming care, people haven't been kicked out of their homes, slumlords have been held accountable. So that's what we want to do. Yes, there are lobbyists that are activists, and that person is an activist / lobbyist.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for that, Siobhan. Great point, because definitely when I first heard of lobbyists, I only thought of negative things, or that's what I heard in the media anyway. But there are people out there, you know, pounding the pavement, doing good work too. That's good to know. All right, so we're going to check your knowledge one last time before we let you go here. So let's get that going. Okay. What is the benefit of constitutional checks and balances for branches of government? Slows down the process of law, keeps all branches honest, ensures no branch is too powerful. All right, I got one answer in here. All right, so the answer is ensures that no branch is too powerful. Awesome. And our next one. Which entity or office has the final vote before a bill becomes a law? All right, I got one answer in here. Oh yeah, and there's a few more. Nice, that is correct. It is the president. The president has the final say so. And last, lobbyists, interest groups, and media all play important roles in the legislative process. Is that true or false? Yes, yes, I see all the truths, and that is accurate. It is true. Awesome, awesome. Yes, well, that concludes all of the fun questions I have for you guys today. But I want to thank you all for reaching out so much. If you have any lingering questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm going to be sending you guys an email with just some resources, a recap of what we've learned today, as well as a survey. So if you could please, when you get that email, click that link and take that survey. You know, all feedback is great feedback. So it just helps us really help to just make this presentation better. And of course, definitely before we go, please, Siobhan, please share. You have any words, parting words for us?
Yes. First of all, Sam, with the more you know stars in there, like I can hear the music in my head. Before I do anything, I'm gonna kick it over to Erin real quick, as she's got the schedule of events. As you know, this is an 18-week process. 1 week we have our trainings, then there is a community event, and then we have our live training again, community event, and so on and so forth. So Erin, if you could talk about that briefly.
I would be more than happy to. So first of all, thank you all for hanging with us. I know that it's been a little choppy. This is our first week, so we will definitely get the tech aspects lined out for week 3. But as far as closing out this session, there is a form that we need you to fill out so that you can receive your stipends and your Alaska Civics Academy swag. And as far as week 2 activities, we have 2 different activities. We have one that is educational, and that'll be in person. It's basically to attend the assembly meeting. You don't have to go for the whole thing. It starts at 5. I will share a Google Doc with this information in it, but I will be there. We'll have a couple of organizers there. Let's just show up and attend assembly meeting and see what it's like, just for an hour. I'll be there from 5 to 7. The meeting lasts from 5 to 11. The second thing that we have will be next Saturday from 11 to 11:30. It'll just be a really quick check-in, and you can pick either one. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to do outreach to Mary Patola about the debt ceiling. And when you guys log on, I'll explain a little bit more about the debt ceiling, why it's so important, and why we want her to stand up. This is our first foray into reaching out to a political, somebody in politics, and we have various outreach avenues, and I've got a Zoom link that I will share with everybody where we can all get together. We'll all do it at the same time, and then you guys will be free to have your Saturday to go and do whatever you want to do. And that's going to be our off week activity. We will be picking our off week activity based on what is happening in Anchorage. So you won't have like you won't have a huge list of activities. There won't be a large calendar of events for you guys to look at, because we really, really do want to be able to do things that are actually happening, that are exciting in the community. And we have a lot of community partners. I just want to take a chance to thank Native Movement, who helped put this training together, along with ACLU of Alaska, ACPERG, and the Alaska Coalition for Justice. Understand that some people are not in Anchorage, and so I am more than happy to get the information for the Fairbanks Bureau meetings. Also, please feel free to do the online events. With that, I'm going to kick it back to Siobhan, and thank you very much.
Okay, so real quick, I want to give a shout out to Nicole. Thank you so much for facilitating this. Nicole was not originally our scheduled facilitator, and she jumped in at the last minute to help us out. So Nicole, I just want to say thank you so much for being here and doing this with us. No, Alaska is not familiar to you, and we appreciate your interest in being a part of this with us. The second thing that I want to say is, we don't know what all of your transportation looks like. One of the things that we talk about in terms of getting people to assembly meetings and rallies and the other things that we're doing is transportation. So one, we would encourage you to find a buddy within the chat. If you are comfortable with us sharing your emails with each other, we will do that, so that you all can find buddies, so that if you need a ride somewhere or additional resources, or like say you miss a class and you feel uncomfortable in the chat asking for asking for additional help, you have somebody that you can reach out to. So please find someone that you feel comfortable talking to. And you can always reach out to me. I will put my phone number in the chat as well. As long as you're not messaging me at like 3 o'clock in the morning, we're good. But, but I also respond well to TikToks and memes. So feel free. And then, my buddy, come back. Come back. Do not let this be the last time we see you. Tell your friends about us. We are just getting started. There is more to come. The assembly meeting, it is so important that people start showing up to assembly meetings. That is the thing that we'll be talking about in the third live class, the third basically Zoom meeting that we'll have together. If you want change, if you want really fast change, it starts at your assembly. And if you don't know who your assembly representatives are, there is a ton of resources that we have for you that we will send to you so that you can figure out who your assembly member is and what their values, belief systems are, and see if they align with yours. These are the people that are deciding what school districts look like. They're deciding how much money gets allocated where. These are the people that are using your tax dollars on your behalf. So yes, the election is going on right now. It is happening right now. So get informed. If you are registered to vote, go vote. Please do that. And having said all that, I want to say again, thank you so much for being here. This was so righteous. If you have, okay, Mita, thank you. If you have questions, comments, concerns, I will put my email in the chat. But please also reach out to civics@standupalaska.org. That's the email that you get your information from. So send emails to that, and like I said, I will also put my phone number in the chat, and you can text message me as well as my phone number. Anyway, thank you so much. I'm gonna let you go. Thank you for sticking this out with us. I know we're 21 minutes past. This was incredible. Thank you for being here, and peace out.